5 legs down, 4 to go, and with the perils of the Southern Ocean now a rapidly receding memory, the crews in the Volvo Ocean Race might be forgiven for thinking that the main dangers are behind them. But ahead lies the North Atlantic, over 3,000 miles of treacherous seas, as the fleet heads back to Europe. Baltimore, the USA. Our Volvo fleet are enjoying spending time in the sailing heartland of North America after a grueling leg from Rio de Janeiro that took 16 days. Mike Sanderson's ABN Amro 1 are extending their grip on this competition, cruising to the United States with the others in their wake. The Dutch entry is now 22 points ahead of their nearest rival, Movistar. ABN Amro 2 are a point behind them in 3rd, while Paul Kayard's Pirates of the Caribbean lie 4th. Brunel are back. The Annapolis In-Port race will see 7 boats competing for points as the Australian entry rejoins the Volvo Ocean Race after withdrawing due to financial constraints in Melbourne in December. Starting as a new entry on 0 points, this is a team with something to prove. Grant Warrington's boat began life in the race as Sunergy and Friends, and hindered by money problems from its inception, immediately found the opening leg arduous. A broken boom leading to a pit stop in Madeira within days of leaving the start line in Spain. The crew eventually arrive in Cape Town to take 5th place. Now renamed ING Real Estate Brunel, the second leg through the Southern Ocean to Melbourne was to be their last. Again, the journey didn't go to plan.
One guy's supposed to be a mast builder. He was in charge of this right from day one, and he cocked it up completely, and I'm absolutely livid about it. What can you do about it now? We just wasted 400 miles, and we're never going to catch it back.
Another 5th-placed finish for the Australians. It's been a 7-week journey to Baltimore from Melbourne following hull, keel and rig amendments, but Brunel are ready to re-enter the Volvo Ocean Race.
We've got a really fresh team ready to go, and we're all fat and happy, you know, so that's really good. Everyone's had a lot of rest and they've put on plenty of kilos. But there's still a lot of points up for grabs in the event, and you know, we're just hopeful that we can do a really nice job and show everybody that, you know, Brunel's a competitive boat.
From a contented crew to one still struggling to comprehend why their race has been such a disappointment. Another stopover, another round of crew changes on board Ericsson. Neil MacDonald returns as skipper to replace John Kostecki.
Unfortunately, I have some conflicts with some previous commitments for more or less the next, well, it's actually for the next year, and so some of those conflicts are not allowing me to do legs 6, 7, and 8. I'm available to do leg 9, and obviously I'm available to continue doing the inshore import races.
I feel that the changes that are coming on here are positive. They've been talked about. They might look like they're sort of flash in the pan 5-minute decisions, but they've basically taken a long time to look over since we got off the boat, which we haven't been out of the meeting rooms.
Guiding the boat up the Chesapeake Bay was Steve Hales' last task with Ericsson before resigning. He's replaced by Mark Rudiger, who won the race as navigator on board EF Language in 1998.
It's been a very tough decision, a very you know, thought about it very hard, and you know, in collaboration with the team as well. I mean, it is my call, but you know, it hasn't been without sitting down and talking to the team, and you know, I've no doubt I have no question it's the right thing for me to do, and I also think it will help, you know, energise the team a bit.
To me, I've really seen small differences in the boats that lead to big mileage changes, and once you get that far separated, then you're sailing in different weather, and I've seen where a couple boats have had some bad breaks, you know, which again separates them a lot. In the old days with the 60s, you'd have a little separation and you had a chance to get back into it, but these boats are so fast that the smallest little change, you know, yields a 20-mile separation. Then you're in a whole different game. You know, the rich get richer typically, so hopefully the breaks will go our way and, you know, be on the podium.
With light winds forecast for the In-Port race, the Far-Design boats have their best chance since Sancenzo to make an impact. But will they take it? In-Port race day in Baltimore. Docksides filling up with people out to enjoy one of the highlights of the waterfront festival. The light conditions forecast have duly materialized, putting the Far-Design boats in pole. But with fickle, fluky winds in prospect and an ebbing tide also a factor, there's a testing afternoon ahead for the whole fleet. Keeping up with the race in Baltimore, commentator Andy Green.
The Chesapeake Bay providing picture-perfect conditions today. 10 to 12 knots of breeze. The boats are powered up, and Brian McInnes winding the handles on ABN Amro 1. Brunel just crossing in front of them in the preparation for the start. They're glad to be back after 2 months away.
Trim man, ease the jib, ease the jib.
Well, Mike Sanderson having a few trimming issues there on ABN Amro 1. And right at the bottom of the picture on port tack, giving way to everybody on board right now is Ericsson. They're ducking the entire fleet. They obviously like the right-hand side of the racecourse. As the other boats wind up on starboard, it's Brazil at the pin. And Pirates of the Caribbean right in the middle, getting a cracking start.
God's sake.
And ABN Amro 1 not having a good time of it off the start in the dirty air of Brazil 1. Now up on the racecourse to the right-hand side, Ericsson is furthest because they ducked the entire fleet at the start. Just to windward of them, ABN Amro 2, and further up is Pirates of the Caribbean. The right-hand side looks like it's where everyone wants to go, and on board ABN Amro 1, Justin Slattery calls the bow down to Mike Sanderson so they can duck as close as they possibly can and not lose any distance. Paul Cayard tacks out of the right-hand side to come back towards the windward mark. And that's Dirk de Ridder just putting the wraps on the winch. Have to be very careful of your fingers there. But towards the right-hand side, Ericsson continues, and it looks like that's the paying move.
Well, here we are. First windward mark, and things are looking really good after an interesting start. We've sailed incredibly well upwind, really good boat speed and great height, and have managed to get to the windward mark first, just ahead of Movistar. I have to say, fantastic effort from all, and shows that the boat's not A, not slow, and B, the guys aren't bad. So here we go. Fantastic.
On board now with Movistar, and they are hot on the heels of Ericsson. And Pirates of the Caribbean come round the top mark in third place, hunting for that podium position. Jules Salter just to windward, he's the navigator. And around in fourth place is ABN Amro 2, behind them Brazil 1. The leader at the moment of the Volvo Ocean race, well back in sixth place, about a boat length and a half ahead of the new entrants, Brunel. But the big news on the racecourse is Movistar have made a clean break to the right-hand side. They look like they've got better breeze, and this could be a significant move. Stuck in the left-hand side, Ericsson and Pirates of the Caribbean Movistar is going to make the passing manoeuvre. Here they come at the bottom mark, and the spinnaker draped all around the boat. They need to get that in safely, but if they can, this will be the passing manoeuvre of the race. Bouwe Bekking on Movistar, he looks cool as a cucumber. Everyone else on the front of the boat frantically getting the sails in. And could this be Brazil 1, who have also got ahead of Ericsson? Tim Powell on board there with Ericsson, and it looks like Torben Grail. Look at that move. He is inside at the mark, it's perfectly legal, and he has passed 2 boats. Coming down towards the finishing line, Movistar have sailed a superb race. The tactics to go to the right really won it for them, but their boat speed has been excellent, and Bouwe Bekking and Andrew Cape, the navigator, and all the crew on board enjoying their first in-port victory. But up at the top mark, it's a very different story. Overall Volvo race leader and dominator of the fleet so far, ABN Amro 1, is only a boat length and a half ahead of Brunel. They are right at the back of the fleet in 6th place. And in 2nd, Brazil 1 crossed the line. 3rd was Pirates of the Caribbean. And everyone has enjoyed a sun-soaked day of spectacular racing here in Baltimore.
So Movistar take a 2.5-point bite out of ABN Amro 1's lead at the top of the leaderboard. But the Black Boat's comfort zone is still a hefty 19.5 points. Pirates edge back up to 3rd at the expense of ABN Amro 2, who are now only 4 points ahead of Brazil 1. Still no headway for Ericsson in 6th, while Brunel get their new campaign off the mark in 7th. For Mike Sanderson, the stopover in Baltimore brings a unique challenge. As skipper of ABN Amro 1, mastering huge waves and plotting a course through dangerous seas is an everyday occurrence. Throwing the opening pitch at a Baltimore Orioles baseball game isn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous, it'd be fair to say. It'd be fair to say I'm pretty nervous. I'm more nervous about this than the start of the Volvo Ocean race, put it that way.
Whenever you're ready, it's your pitch.
I'm useless.
Oh.
Oh. Sorry about that.
Good to have you.
A bouncer. Sorry about that, mate.
I don't know, after a week's training, that was just shocking.
Well, usually I always support my skipper, but tonight I take my jacket off.
Not a good picture.
It was a disaster. Terrible.
Well, Mike Sanderson returns to more familiar territory on the 6th leg, which is a fast and furious charge out of the Chesapeake Bay and up the eastern seaboard to New York. With the winning boat expected to pass the Statue of Liberty within 36 hours, this will be a white-knuckle sprint for honours. On the water, and just minutes from the start, the boats circle each other, seeking an advantage.
Looks pretty tricky, so you compete against the current, and right now we actually want to go over a little bit to the right hand side. We think there's too many spectator boats on the left, so there will be lots of chop. Basically to see what we do, like how we get off the line.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, strike.
Torben Grail's Brazil 1 gets the best start of the fleet. ABN Amro 2 also punching through the line with pace. Heading up the course and searching for breeze, the race for the first mark is tight as the fleet navigate their way through the mass of spectator boats. Brazil 1 is stealing the show, firmly in first place as they near the first mark. Over 2,000 spectators line Bay Bridge as one by one the fleet set their spinnakers, bound for the exit at the Chesapeake Bay. beautiful sailing conditions as the fleet charged towards the exit. But strong headwinds of 40 knots are on the horizon. The next 400 miles are going to be tough. The boats head towards the Atlantic, and as expected, the racing is very tight. Paul Cayard's Pirates of the Caribbean soon lead the way.
You can see the fleet strung out behind us here. It's Brazil. Movistar's over here on the western shore. About half a mile of weather. And just strung out behind Brazil over the next couple of miles. You can see Ericsson and Brunel. And way up there in the distance, you can see ABN about 2 miles away.
It's going to be a long and tough night having these boats this close together. I don't know how anybody's going to sleep.
The strong winds and heavy rain soon arrive. ABN Amro 2 bear the brunt. Last into Baltimore, Seb Josse's crew are once again struggling as night approaches.
Now we're pretty much upwind all the way to Amro's light, so it's going to be more of this pounding upwind conditions, which is not that pleasant, and a few more tacks, which might work, but hopefully it'll be all over in 10 hours or so, so we'll look forward to that.
The Big Apple is now within striking distance for our Volvo fleet. With just 200 miles to go, it's Mike Sanderson's ABN Amro 1, the overall race leaders, who have moved from the rear of the pack to the front. But there are just 13 miles separating the first 5 boats. Creeping through the darkness into an expectant Manhattan, ABN Amro 1. Mike Sanderson's boat arriving in New York to win leg 6 of the Volvo Ocean Race. Overall victory now almost within reach.
This was one of the legs we were worried about because anything short risks is a high risk for our boat. When you've got 4 of the other main competition who are basically so identical in design as they're proving out there now, when it's bad for us, it goes very bad.
While dawn breaks in New York and Sanderson's men leave the quayside in search of warm beds, drama begins to unfold on the water. Pirates of the Caribbean make a break for home ahead of the rest and claim second spot.
Movistar was definitely on our hammer the whole way up here. We were dueling with them. The other boats were a little bit further back. Once we saw that those 3 boats behind us, or 2 boats, Brazil and Ericsson, had actually closed up on Movistar, then Movistar had to go from a role of attacking us to defending their own position for third. So that made it a little bit easier for us to just sail our boat.
With Cayard's men taking second, an extraordinary battle for third develops between Brazil 1, Ericsson and Movistar. It's Brazil 1 who eventually claimed third. Neil McDonald's Ericsson fight hard to the line, stealing 4th from Movistar.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, we hadn't had any sleep in 2 days, and we had 40 knots, and we must have done 60, 70 tacks, and we have to stack the boat every time we stack. We can hardly pick the sails up as it is, so going to be a lot of aches and pains tomorrow morning and some very sore hands.
Victorious in the Annapolis In-Port race, Bouwe Bekking's men have to be content with 5th.
It was a bit disappointing, but it was actually a little bit what we expected, because straight after the start we broke our wind system, so we couldn't grind properly with the pedestals our jibs in, and it was short tacking up the harbour here, so we're just losing out every tack. We lost like 2 to 3 boat lengths, so there was nothing we could do really.
So here's how the table looks as the dust settles in New York. victory for ABN Amro 1 sees them now lead the Volvo Ocean Race by 23 points. Another 9 will secure overall victory. Only 13 points separate Pirates of the Caribbean in second and Ericsson in sixth. So all to play for as the boats prepare to cross the Atlantic, just 48 hours after their dramatic arrival under the New York skyline. After the short but punishing leg 6 from Annapolis, the Volvo fleet has just 2 days in which to rest and prepare the boats for the 3,200-mile transatlantic dash to Portsmouth on leg 7. This being a pit stop, no crew can receive outside assistance without incurring a 2-hour penalty on the restart, which can be frustrating for members of the shore crew.
Our time here in New York's actually spent standing around drinking a lot of coffee, actually. It's quite boring. I think the concept of the pit stop has been met with varying views throughout the fleet. For some of us, it's a contentious issue. For others, it's a bit of a novelty. I know from ABN's point of view, we'd be a lot happier if we could get on board the boat.
Movistar's shore crew is on the boat. Bouwe Bekking's men have damaged a winch system, not an easy fix.
The decision was taken by Bauer and the sailing team to take the 2-hour penalty. There's kind of a balance, you know. You don't want to be starting 2 hours behind everyone, but you don't want to be inefficient for the next 6, 8, 9 days, however long it's going to take them to get across the Atlantic.
Matt's able to stand in for me in this regard.
For Brunel, the problem is not so much parts as personnel. After relaunching his campaign in Baltimore with the aim of making an impact on the transatlantic leg, skipper Grant Warrington has come to a difficult decision.
I'm going to step aside for this leg 7, and Matt Humphries is going to skipper the boat for me. I found myself very tired in the last couple of days, and I was actually not able to pull my weight, which is not the way I like to go yacht racing. You know, I'm very proactive on the boat, and there's some sort of thing I've got to try and get sorted out. It's no good when you can't stay awake, I can tell you that.
The challenges the crews face on the next leg are formidable. A combination of hard upwind sailing, extreme cold and fog, with the prospect of fast reaching en route to the scoring gate at the Lizard, 165 miles west of the finish line in Portsmouth. With 10.5 points up for grabs, it's an important leg for all the boats, not least race leaders ABN Amro 1, now just 9 points away from winning the event outright. It's 11 o'clock, and 6 boats set out for the start of leg 7 and the challenge of the North Atlantic. Cooling their heels in North Cove Marina for another 2 hours, Movistar enduring their second enforced 2-hour penalty of the race. Out on the Hudson River, there's barely 10 knots of breeze. Tide. Not easy conditions to start.
10, 9, 8, cover, 6, 5.
The course they'll be sailing out of the bay, a reach across the start line and then hard on the wind past the Statue of Liberty. And finally to the Narrows, where New York will bid farewell to the Volvo Ocean Race. Pirates convincingly win the start and lead the fleet out of the river. Brunel also looking confident and secure in second place. Sailing past the Statue of Liberty, the sight is nothing short of spectacular as the wind begins to freshen. For Movistar, the wait is tortuous. Still at the dock and sitting out their 2-hour penalty.
Yeah, we seem to have done this a couple of times now, and you know, all we want to do is just get
get close to them and be able to race them again.
Finally, for Movistar, their time is up and New York waves goodbye to the one remaining boat. Surging out of the harbour in encouraging conditions, Movistar's race has finally begun. It's time to play catch-up.
That was awesome. Leading out New York Harbor with the Pirates of the Caribbean. Doesn't get any better than that. That was like they wrote the script in Hollywood. We just executed it. That was awesome. Really a lot of fun. Now we're settling into the reality of a couple of hard days on the wind in these boats. But what a send-off from New York City.
When the sights and sounds of New York recede, reality bites in the form of freezing fog that envelops the fleet. Less than 3 miles separate the first boat from last. Some are even closer.
ABN 2 have just come out of the mist. Unbelievable. We're sailing along here in pea soup, freezing cold, and we heard some sheets easing and discovered it wasn't us. Had a little look around the boat. Who's easing the rail? Oh yeah! No one on our boat. It was the guys next door on the ABN 2. Unbelievable stuff.
Back to the top of the pile, as if by right, the crew of ABN Amro 1. Skipper and navigator already counting their early gains.
You know, we can't be greedy. We gained a mile on most of the fleet and gained 20 on Movistar. She said to tack out round Nantucket Shoal when the rest of the fleet got out there pretty cheaply yesterday. So good to get her back a little bit, because I'm sure she'll come storming through later on.
On day 8, for ABN Amro 2, racing becomes an irrelevance. Sailing in 30 knots of wind in 5 metre seas some 1,300 miles from Land's End, England, Dutchman Hans Horowitz is washed overboard.
Did he have a life jacket on?
No life jacket, no harness.
Thank you.
All the people on the deck at the time, except for Hans, were clipped on.
It changed very quickly, and the wind was getting up quite quickly, and we were in the process of clipping on.
A matter of 30 seconds or a minute, he would have been down there and put his harness on to come back on deck.
Being the navigator, I was the person responsible for hitting the man overboard button and just making sure we went back to where we lost Hans over the side. We were only 1.6 miles away from Hans when we had the spinnaker down, the staysail furled, a daggerboard down so we could go upwind, and the boat was turned around and heading back.
First time we saw him, we came probably, it was 6 meters, 7 meters from the boat. Tried it once, but the swell was too big, so I couldn't get him. Then Sepp decided to do another, I think, 2 laps, and then he came really close to the boat, and half hanging out of the boat, we could grab him.
As soon as we got Hans on, we initiated just basic life support, CPR, and that's really all you can do. We're really, really limited, with the facilities and things that we have on board to try to save someone.
Whatever boat you go into the sea, it will be dangerous. I think it's a great boat, but we must always remember the sea is a dangerous place.
Hans Horowitz was 32. He leaves a partner, Petra, and a young daughter. After the tragic events of Thursday morning, the race goes on. Our fleet continues to head for England through perilous seas. Ericsson are in pursuit of the race leaders, ABN Amro 1.
About 600 miles to go to Lizard Point now, and there's
absolute battle. There's a little bit of a lull between the storms here at the moment, and literally it's just that. I mean, we've had 40 knots for the last 2 days. We've jibed. Currently got about 30. Expecting 40 knots again tonight. It's just an absolute battle out here. Couldn't be harder. Out goes yet another bucket of water from the mighty Ericsson. Hey, leaky ship.
It's called leaks. What's up with that?
Leaks like a sieve, mate. Very tired and exhausted. Damien Foxall coming downstairs here. You can hear the noise in the background, generators running, just trying to keep the boat going. Both of us should have been in bed about 3 hours ago. Going to get half an hour's sleep, back up there for another 6.
At the head of the fleet, Mike Sanderson's crew surge through the scoring gate off the Lizard, gaining maximum points. Now, just the finish line in Portsmouth awaits, and ABN Amro 1 are not holding back. Overall victory is just hours away. The rest of the fleet chased the leader, ABN Amro 1, towards Portsmouth. In third, behind Ericsson, Pirates of the Caribbean. In pursuit of the Disney entry in fourth, Torben Grail's Brazil 1. Bringing up the rear, but still scorching along the channel, Brunel. But just 10 days after waving Manhattan goodbye, ABN Amro 1 tears across the finish line in Portsmouth to take leg 7 of the Volvo Ocean Race, securing overall victory for Mike Sanderson's crew.
It's such a special moment. This is my Olympic medal. This is my climbing of Mount Everest. This is my childhood dream, to get to skipper a boat and win it in the Volvo Ocean Race. We had to go on to the finish. That's what Hans would have wanted. Suddenly I got this urge that we had to go on and win the leg, and by winning the leg that meant we won the race. And you know, as a good friend Mikey Howard sent me, he sent me an email to say, you know, we've lost a friend and we've gained an angel. And you know, hopefully Hans is looking down and watching us come in here tonight, because it was pretty special, and it's what he would have wanted.
As ABN Amro 1 closed in on victory, drama begins to unfold some 400 miles short of Land's End. Movistar, riddled with problems since the race began, runs into difficulty. The keel pivot bearing breaks away from the hull, and water begins to pour into the boat. ABN Amro 2, carrying the body of Hans Horowitz, alter their route and come to assist the stricken Movistar. A desperate crew attempt to stop the leak by securing the keel with ropes.
The water that's coming in is going out, so we're in good shape.
So we've got both pumps running now?
Both pumps.
How do you feel about the whole situation?
Well, I like to look at it with the half glass full, but you know, the weather's good, and we're pretty lucky. Could be bad weather, like it's forecast, and we'd have a lot on. So I think we're probably as good as we can be. We've got ABN just behind us here, which is fantastic considering their situation, to be out here to help us.
As night approaches, skipper Bouwe Bekking begins to contemplate whether his crew's repairs will get them to land. With the boat taking on more water, Bekking and his crew are left with no option but to abandon ship. The conditions are too rough for ABN Amro 2 to come alongside Movistar, and the crew must transfer via a life raft. It's a difficult and dangerous operation. The first task is to get a line across to ABN Amro so that the life raft can be pulled between the two yachts. Getting aboard in these conditions will not be easy.
Should be able to
Should we your line on, or should we cut the line and we come off the life raft and then send the throwing line back to your boat?
Now we're approaching Movistar and the life raft. You can see that that's not helping a lot.
Just 3 days after losing Hans Horowitz, ABN Amro 2, the youngest crew in the race, find themselves saving the lives of 10 others.
Time to look after the raft, because you never know. There'll be two crew on that boat, and we need to make sure we still have another means of even getting off that boat if things go bad. Just sort of tidying the boat up so that if there is a chance when he comes back, hopefully still afloat, it can be picked up and there won't be too much floating in the water. Put the hatch covers in and hope it's still here.
What about the pumps? How long do you think it will stay working?
Hopefully an hour, 2 hours. Batteries are fully charged. Start the generator up, so let's just the compartment runs full first, so we keep the main engine on as well.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, another one side.
Soon it's time for the last remaining members of Movistar's crew to get into the life raft, leaving their yacht alone on the ocean.
There goes Movistar. No one on board anymore. Got the rest of the crew on the life raft. We're just coming again across them. Pity.
With the arrival of the last life raft, there are now 19 people aboard ABN Amro 2.
Much appreciation to you guys.
See you later. That's it.
While the drama unfolds 400 miles from Land's End, Ericsson storm into Portsmouth to take second place behind ABN Amro 1. This is the best result for Neil MacDonald's crew since leaving Spain in November.
Obviously this for us has turned the race around, and it's a bit hard to be disrespectful to what's happened in the fleet, but it's bloody fantastic, mate. It's about time. We had great pace and really the crew work and the atmosphere on board was absolutely wonderful. And we felt like we could take anything on, and we did, and it was great. It was really neat atmosphere, a great team and a great result, and finally we can show them what we're made of. It's a long time coming.
Less than half an hour after Ericsson crossed the finish line, Pirates of the Caribbean race home to claim third. After spending the night on ABN Amro 2, the crew of Movistar prepared to climb on board a race support boat 6 miles south of Falmouth, Cornwall. ABN Amro 2, meanwhile, heads towards a Royal Netherlands Navy frigate, which will take off the body of Dutch crewman Hans Horowitz. Safely ashore, Bekking's crew reflect on an extraordinary 48 hours.
You can't describe how thankful for those guys, and you know, they're just you know, like such a terrible experience, and they're holding their heads up. So I think it's a good lesson for everyone. They're very remarkable people.
A big thank you to the ABN 2 crew and Sebastian. They did a fantastic job, and they've been really nice to us, especially in the circumstances where they have been. I think like we realised that we're actually quite a lucky bunch and be in a way better situation actually than the ABN 2 crew was.
I was sort of the last one to step off into the raft, and I got a picture in my mind like the life raft's down at the almost water level, and I can see the transom of the boat with Movistar from San Chencho like rocking and drifting off into the distance, and you just go, you know, I'm fairly certain that'll be the last time I see it.
Following the drama of the 7th leg, the race jury met and granted redress to all the boats that had altered course to help ABN Amro 2 and Movistar. The Spanish entry's demise leaves Pirates of the Caribbean with a firm hold on second place, but they could still be caught by Brazil 1, who are now in third. Ericsson's second place on the leg has moved them back in contention for a podium finish. "11 days after leaving New York and having experienced a transatlantic crossing none on board envisaged, ABN Amro 2 arrives in Portsmouth, ending one of the most dramatic legs in ocean race history. For Mike Sanderson and his crew, a glorious victory. For Bouwe Bekking and his crew, the loss of their boat and dreams of a podium finish. But for Sebastian Josse and his crew on ABN Amro 2, this journey was a test of the human spirit. Seldom has a group of sportsmen revealed such courage in fending for their fellow man. For them it is a time to reflect on the loss of a friend, to reflect on the question, do they race on?